Okay, well, today I decided that I was going to do a deck spotlight, and this is on the classic game Deadlands Doomtown. And this is the classic version, not the reloaded version. This is a deck that, if you can make it, I highly suggest that you don't, because this will ruin the game. This is a deck that has been kept secret by those who knew about it for about 25 years, and I'm spilling the beans on it, my version of it. This don't bring it to tournaments. If you really want to show it to your friends, if you're still playing this game, which I highly suggest you do. This and Reloaded are both very, very good games. But this will ruin your experience. This will ruin everybody's experience. It's a big old black cloud. Don't bring it in the room. Without further ado, though, I'm going to tell you how to build it. So, first off, this is the Coalition. And what the Coalition does here, well, the Coalition will add 1 to your hand size if you have both Agency and Texas Rangers in play. So, as you can see, it both has that. It also adds 1 to your production. And, yeah, it's broken. It's busted, and I'm about to break it even further. So, here we go. We're going to give you the rundown here. This is the starting lineup that I use. I use Los Ojos Del Dios, the experienced version. He gets a great ability there that if you fail a pull, you can sack a card to pull again. Bobo Leveux, nice 2 huckster. Also makes the other opposing side harder to draw for any hexes or anything like that. Sister Mary's just in there for the influence and also because she's a blessed one. As you notice, there's some overlap here. Blessed, huckster, shaman. He can do everything. Huckster, blessed. So you will need all 3 of those to run this deck effectively. Now, in this deck, it's what we call high risk, high reward. So it has 1 character card in this deck that is not your starting lineup. So yeah, this is very, very fragile, but what it does do, it does very well and very quickly. So this is Deluge. He's a key. This is a weak spot. If he gets whacked, the deck's going to fail for the most part. You'll still be pretty quick, but you don't have anything to shoot in this deck. There's no shooting. There's not really a lot of control. It's meant to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to infinitely loop by turn 2. And that will basically day 2 comes around. It's got about an 80% chance of doing it by turn 2. It's got a 99% chance of doing it by turn 3. Now how this works, you have 1 control point deed in this deck. It's the Gypsy's tent. Adds 1 to your maximum hand size. Remember that. So you get 1 from the Coalition, 1 from the Gypsy's tent. Now, the next, and this is the most important part of this deck, you're going to want to have 4 copies of Demon's Eye. And Demon's Eye is a hex that's first ability lets you discard any or all cards in your hand for a 7 pull, or the higher ability here, which is a 10 pull, which allows you to discard and redraw up to your maximum hand size. So you can discard anything you want and redraw it. So Demon's Eye is a key. And how this works is effectively you want to get a Demon's Eye in your first hand. First hand, you get a Demon's Eye. If you don't get a Demon's Eye, there are some backup options. We've got 4 copies of Bribing the Town Council also in here. So if you don't get a Demon's Eye, now bear with me, I am using some proxies for these. My play set is in binders, so I have a couple that I've set aside. So as you can see, this one here, that's a proxy, but I don't play with this in public. It's a bad deck. It's very bad. So Bribing the Town Council will let you pay 3. You boot, preferably Los Ojos, to go search for any card in your deck or your discard. And then discard a card also. So you want to have at least 2 cards in hand to do that. So you have 1 to keep, 1 to discard. Now, I also put in, just for money, We've got 2 copies of Foreclosed Folly, and we also have 4 copies of Reserves. And what those will do is keep the money train rolling. Reserves gives you 1 per every card played, and this one, Foreclosed Folly, because of its nature, discard the Foreclosed Folly to gain 2 ghost rocks. So it costs 1, you discard it to get 1, it keeps the money train going every time you get 1. Put it into play and then discard it. Now, deeds, other than that, to fill up space and to keep the deck moving quickly, we have a full set of 0 cost strikes. And these are meant basically to give you a high value for your pulls, but also to cycle the deck, to get them out of your hand, put them into play, don't worry about them. Muddy Brown Strike, the set is, I believe, 7 cards, and I have, there we go. Now, you'll need an extensive collection to pull this one off, but these were pretty easy to find through various sets. And there is a whole set here of 7, all 0s. All different, so you can put them all into play. The only one you're cycling really is that Foreclosed Folly. That is kind of a nice card. I don't understand why it's not used as often. It's a great cycler. Now, since you've got the money train rolling, we've got a few things to protect us from other shootouts, and that's I put a couple calms in here, and I also put in a couple call weathers. Call weathers will stop them from coming to your home. Calms will stop any shootouts for the most part. This does have a strong weakness for first turn shootouts or jobs. You don't go looking for a fight with this deck. You let them come to you, and if you can, try to stop them with the call weather so they can't get there. Because that will stop any jobs, especially the Sioux Union with their first turn brawl decks, which that's one of the few decks that can outright just stop this in its tracks. The other thing I have in here for spells, we've got a couple Babble Ons, and that's for game winning. You got 1 control point, you're going to use these Babble Ons over and over again on a character. You may be asking how you do that. So let's say we got a Babble On here on Los Ojos Del Dios. All right. We're going to use 2 cards for the most part, and I have 2 of these in this deck, and it's called Play It Again. Play It Again, you pay 3, it lets you use an action printed on a card in play an additional time. So that one, boom. There you go. Babble On 1 time, Play It Again lets you use Babble On again. And then the second part of the combo, Cup of Joe. Cup of Joe will let you unboot a guy for the cost of 1 bullet and 1 influence. So he goes down in influence, but you get to do it again. So like I said, high risk, high reward. Now, one of the other keys here, I'm just going to point this out just to keep this thing rolling. We got 4 copies of Eurekas Rage. This has been errated. It used to let you draw up to your maximum hand size if this was the last card in your deck. It was abusive. They kept cycling, so they added aces after the effect comes into play. So that goes directly into your boot hill after you play it. But if it's the last card in your hand, you get to redraw to your maximum hand size, and it slims the deck down, which is important. You want to have this thing small so that you can keep cycling this combo over and over again. Now, I also added in here, Ask the Spirits. What Ask the Spirits does is it lets you play events from your hand. You only have 1 event in this deck. It's Eureka. You can probably guess what it does at this point. When it comes into play, you get to draw 2 cards immediately, and it increases your hand size by 2. So you might be seeing a combo here. You can have, if you win lowball, effectively 10 cards that you're drawing for that turn. And you're going to be doing it because of the Demon's Eye on Deluge. You'll want to put the Demon's Eye, spread them out, give like 1 to each of these guys. But Deluge, he's going to be your main focus here. We've got a card in here for him that will let you keep doing Demon's Eyes long past they've been used up. Good stiff drink. This lets one action on a dude in play that has been used can be used a second time this turn. Demon's Eye on Deluge. Deluge is special. We're going to take a look at him. If you can see it, it says target a hex in this location attached to another dude. Until after Nightfall, Deluge is considered to have a copy of that hex attached. So what you're going to do is you're going to use it, copy Demon's Eye, so he gets a copy of it, and then you're going to use that to do his noon action again, copy another copy of it. If you have another one, use another one, copy another copy of it. See where it's going? That's the loop. Deluge. He's key to this. But you can kind of make it work if you lose Deluge. You can kind of make it work with these, but these good stiff drinks, they're going to be a whole lot less useful. And they're just going to be clogging up your hands. So you're probably going to lose if you lose Deluge. He's a key, she's a key. Just remember that. If you want to beat this deck, you got to aim for those two. I hate this deck. It's so stupid. All right. Now, you might be noticing not every card in this has a high value for a pull. Well, we put in a little combat for that. It's called Hired Help. Now remember, this is going into a loop, so this is going to come up frequently. You're going to want to focus on Deluge first, and what this does is adds a +2 bonus to one of his skills until after Nightfall. So you're going to give it to his Huckster rating, +2, each time you play it. Every time you play it, he gets another +2. You should only have to put 2 of them on him for every card in here to pull successfully for any of the spells. Now, you get 2 on him, start putting 2 on him, start putting 2 on her, him, and so on and so forth, because you'll have a bunch of spells in this game. And, this is so awful. All right, so, now, influence. I stuck in a Rebel Pride and a Yankee Pride. What this does is gives you a +1 bullet, +1 influence, or +3 value. You're only using this for the influence. Rebel Prides go on these two guys. Yankee's Pride goes on Sister Mary Jebediah. Now, I will be including a deck list for this monstrosity, this abomination. I'm not going to give you a test run for how it works, but hopefully that gives you an idea of how broken Deadlands could be. Yeah, that's pretty much the sum up for it. Please, if you have any comments on this, add them to it. Congratulations, you now know the biggest secret in Deadlands Doomtown history. We tried to keep it. I'm letting it free. It's about time. Have a good day.